Morning. Hope you had good weekends. I'm just going to talk a little bit about, let me just go through the warm-up first. And we'll talk about some stuff. Okay, so use Cramer's rule to solve for y in the following system. All right. So, for Cramer's rule, the first thing we need to do is find capital D, which represents the determinant of the coefficient matrix. So across the top, 1, 1, 1. Second row, -3, 1, 2. -2, 2, -1. Okay, so for this first part, for capital D, we're not worried about this stuff over here yet. All right, we're not doing anything with it. These numbers are not in this matrix. This is purely just the coefficients. Okay, so now let's do our determinant. Okay, we have our rule for figuring out a 3x3 determinant, which is first number, which is 1, times the determinant, get rid of that row, get rid of that column. So we would have these 4 values, 1, 2, 2, -1, minus the next value, so 1. Get rid of this column, get rid of this row, so you'd have -3, 2, -2, -1. And then plus this next top right value, 1. Get rid of this row, get rid of this column, so you'd have these 4 values, -3, 1, -2, 2. Okay. Remember, for this formula, it's just that there is a minus sign here in the formula. Even though this second number is +1, the formula just says that this should always be a minus, or this should be a minus sign. So if this were negative value, then it would turn into a plus sign. But since this is a positive value, it turns into a minus. Okay. All right. A 2x2 determinant. So 1 times -1 is -1. -1 minus 2 times 2. So -1 minus 4 is -5. Minus 1. -3 times -1 is +3. So +3 minus -4. +3 plus 4, 7. Plus 1. -3 times 2 is -6. -6 minus -2. So -6 plus 2, -4. So -5 minus 7 minus 4. It would be -16. Okay, so we'll need to keep this in mind. But for the moment, we need to go through and calculate something else. So what we need to do, since we are trying to solve for y, right? Question asks us to solve for y. So now we need to find dy. So this is a 3 by 3 matrix that instead of, so I'm going to copy this same column, 1, -3, -2. I'm going to copy this same column, 1, 2, -1. But since we are trying to find y, so what I'm going to do now is instead of having my normal y column from the original matrix 1, 1, 2, I'm going to replace that with 3, -1, +2. Now we calculate this determinant. So going through our same process of these numbers across the top, get rid of that row, that column. There should be 4 numbers left in each case. Again, notice that this is a -3, even though this number up top here is a +3, right? Because the formula for this, for determinant, just has a minus sign here. Okay, so 1. And then it's just doing determinant of a 2 by 2. So -1 times -1 is +1. 1 minus 2 times 2, so 1 minus 4 is -3. -3 times -3 times -1 is +3. +3 minus -4. So +3 plus 4 is 7. Plus 1. -3 times 2 is -6. -6 minus 2, -8. So -3 minus 21 minus 8 minus 32. So then finally, it should be that the y value is the same thing as dy divided by d. So dy is -32. D was, what was it? -16. So -32 divided by -16 is +2. There's the y value, +2. You'll only see this on the AFA, the matrices AFA. Just a smidgen more on matrices. So there we go. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it is faster than trying to go through and do Gaussian elimination or whatever, or solve the system by hand. So it's still nice. And another good thing, like I mentioned before, is that this allows us to just solve for one variable. Usually if we solve a system, we have to solve for x, solve for y, solve for z. Like we need one to find the other. But this, we can just totally find y without worrying about x and z at all. They could still be anything. Who cares? But since we just wanted to solve for y, we can just pick out and solve y. Um, good news. That's the last thing I'll teach you. Right. We are done with learning content in college algebra. That's it, folks. So, we still have a final exam that I have to give, right, because of dual credit. Okay, so a couple things. It'll be due May 22nd, right, which is the last day. So that's next Friday. Right, not this Friday, next Friday. I think that date's right? Yeah, May 22nd. Okay, it'll be worth 15% of your grade. Could cover any topics from class. For our school year. I just lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? It'll still be pretty, short. It's not going to be like a huge final exam. It's just going to be like, I don't know, maybe five or six questions. Okay. Kind of like the things that we've done before, like for performance tasks so far, like while on quarantine. Wait, what? To what part? Yeah, I mean, what do you think? What am I going to give you? You know? Okay, I mean, there'll be like, somewhat longer questions. It won't just be like, question 1, solve this equation. Question, like, there'll be a little more involved questions, but yeah. Okay, and it's it's gonna be totally open note and stuff. I'm gonna send it to you in the next day or two. Okay, so I'll email that to you, and then you just have to email it back to me sometime before the last day of the school year. Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't know. So it'll hit on various stuff that we learned throughout the year. However, my goal is not to make this, some crazy hard exam for you to do. It just would like some evidence of any specific studying. Not really. I mean, they'll definitely, since we didn't have an actual, let's see, what did we have in this class? We had a systems of equations performance task in here, right? And that was it. There'll definitely be a little bit of there'll definitely be a matrix question of some kind, asking you to do some matrix stuff. I don't know. I mean, anything will be fair game. I'll hit on a broad stuff, but I wouldn't suggest I don't have anything to tell you specifically. Study this. I don't know that it would be super helpful, like especially since you'll have a lot of time to work on it, because I'll either send it out tomorrow or Wednesday. So even if there's stuff that you're like, oh man, I don't remember this, well, you'll still have a week and a half to look at notes or ask me questions or do whatever. So